All right, so it looks like we are live. And today, if you see me looking up and down, it's because I'm looking at my notes. Don't want to get off on tangent here. But today, I've been called to go live. I normally just go ahead and upload my videos every Monday, but life happens. Let's be real here. And one thing that I've been noticing a huge theme just across the board, not just on social media, but with everything that's just going on is anxiety and the energy that comes with it. So, if you are someone who struggles with anxiety, you struggle with being overwhelmed by stimulation, and you just feel very sensitive to energies, then this video is definitely for you. And I just want to share this message to anyone out there who may feel like this is something that they really struggle with. It doesn't matter if they do practice certain grounding techniques or if they do set healthy boundaries. That way they can go ahead and recharge themselves. I just want you to know that you are not alone. It doesn't matter how enlightened or how spiritual or non spiritual you are, we're still human. And a byproduct of being human is sometimes we will take on the energies that are at play. So, with that being said, I want to talk about the importance of grounding. When I say grounding, I'm not just talking about going outside barefoot, walking on the grass, or meditating. I'm talking about doing something that is self soothing, but in a healthy way. So, for instance, painting could be a form of grounding. It's a form of connecting and being present. So, anytime you're grounding, just think of it as being in a state of flow. You're in a state of flow. And when you're in a state of flow, it actually causes you to be present at that moment, space, and time. So, you can also play an instrument. If you like playing an instrument, that will also bring you back and connect you. Aside from playing an instrument, you can also light a candle. Any scents, aromatherapy is really good. But if you're not really into doing any of those things, then that's okay. Just find something that works for you and stick with it. Stick with it because we're all different. And what one thing might work for one person may not necessarily work for another person. So that actually brings me to the point of getting to know yourself because it's so important to actually know who we are so we can have that sense of security. A lot of times when we're feeling anxiety, we don't have that sense of security. Something may feel a bit off, or we may feel like we have a loss of control. And with everything that's going on, I mean, I don't have to mention exactly what's going on. We're both capable of knowing everything that's been going on. And just in 2020 alone, it's brought a huge energy of fear. And we have to remember that anytime we are feeling some sort of fear, that could also bring on anxiety. And this is why it's so important to just remember that everything that's going on outside of you, anything that's going on externally, we don't necessarily always have control of those things. And the moment that we want to feel like we have control of external circumstances, that's when things can get a little murky, things can get a little tricky, and it's just hard. It's hard because I don't want you to think that you don't have any power or you don't have any control. You do. You do have some form of control, but that control that you have is internal. It's knowing that it's okay to release and it's okay to know that whatever is going on around you, you don't have control over it. But you do have control over what is inside of you, how you choose to react, or in this case, respond. Because anytime we are reacting, essentially, we're not really taking time to digest and process. When we're reacting, it's like, wow, you see something on the TV or you're hearing, things that may be going on. And oh, hey, Tito. Hey, how amazing. I was working on something about the same. No, it's true. It's so true. I feel like collectively, and I'm glad that you actually brought that up, Tito, is that um, I think a lot of people are working through that, especially with everything that's been going on this year alone. I think it's amplified the shadow work that we all need to do. Um, and energy is strong. Doesn't matter if it's positive energy or like higher vibrational energies are very strong, and the same thing with lower vibrational energies. And I think that's something that a lot of us can take for granted. A lot of us can actually get sidetracked from it. And if you do find yourself getting sidetracked, just take this with a grain of salt, and also take this as encouragement that it's okay. At the end of the day, we are here on earth and we're in this physical body, and we are here to experience life in a physical way. And with that comes sometimes making mistakes, sometimes not feeling as strong as we know we are, or doing things that we know we should be doing. Never beat yourself up. Always be patient with yourself, and be very loving and kind, the same way you would to a pet or your best friend or a child. We all have this inner child within us, and a lot of times we go through life without really healing our inner child, whether if it's trauma that we've experienced, whether if it's maybe dreams that we've had, since we were a kid that we wanted to do, but we never really got around to doing it. Just go back to that inner child and really start piquing that curiosity that you once had. And I know it sounds crazy because of everything that's going on, but give yourself that permission, because anytime we go externally looking for permission to be better, become our greatest version, sometimes what you'll run into or what you'll encounter is people who aren't as authentic. For instance, I'm not saying that everyone is fake, no, but what I am trying to say is, just in general, mainstream media, even social media, tends to glorify others who aren't their true selves. It's almost as if they're playing a role. And in a sense, we are, right? We are here to play a specific role. So just know that you have the choice of what role is it that you want to play? What role is it that you want to set forth for yourself? And not just for yourself, but even people around you. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we do, what we say, it does affect other people, because we are all connected. And if we weren't, we wouldn't be feeling all of this energy that's been at play since the beginning of the year up until now. It's affecting a lot of people, not just here in the US, but globally. And that just goes to show how much we really are connected. And I'm not going to say anything else, mainly on that part, mainly because of, people also being suppressed when it comes to speaking up and speaking their truth. But I'm pretty sure you can kind of guess what I'm trying to say. I'm kind of tiptoeing only because I really want this video to reach as many people as possible. And it's all about, going back to speaking your truth, it's all about knowing and realizing that we are all here for a reason. There's a purpose that we're here. And it's not easy always realizing or trying to figure out what that reason is. But I encourage you all to never give up, and to always be seeking why you are here. Even if you don't really know why, try to do something that makes you a little uncomfortable, but in a healthy way. So let's say, for instance, going back to the anxiety, let's say if you feel that you don't really like doing public speaking because anxiety, let's be honest here, not everyone naturally has the talent to speak to people, especially if you find yourself being an empath or introverted or whatever label you want to call it, begin to exercise those ideas about yourself and begin to question, okay, where did this idea come from? Where did this thought process begin? And many times we'll start realizing that a lot of the ways we think of ourselves are actually byproducts of what other people may have thought about us or even themselves. A lot of these things are learned because if you look at children, most children, they are so loving, they are so authentic and carefree. And they don't necessarily always think about limits. We don't start thinking about limits until we start getting older. We learn it through school, we learn it through the home, our parents, our friends, our environment essentially is what begins to mold us. But just know that you do have the power to look deeper into that and start questioning, okay, does this really resonate with me? Do I really feel that this is my own truth? Or is it a truth that I'm living based on what other people think about me, other people's truths? And this is where it could also go along with anxiety, because a lot of the times when we're feeling anxiety is because we're resisting something. Anytime we resist something, a form of anxiety can pop up, it can creep up. It doesn't necessarily always have to be to the extent of having a panic attack or an anxiety attack or anything like that. But resistance is a form of having anxiety. So just look into what are certain areas in your life that you feel that you are resisting, and be honest with yourself, but also be very patient. Don't talk down to yourself. Don't belittle yourself. Be very loving, be very patient and understanding. And I know a lot of these things that I'm saying, it may sound crazy or a lot easier said than done, but this is coming from someone who has been doing a lot of inner work since I was a kid. I've gone through a lot of trauma, had severe anxiety, had complex PTSD, and you name it. The list goes on and on and on. So trust me when I say that I can definitely empathize and I can definitely relate when it comes to having fear-based resistance and not feeling like you can move forward because of it. And I just want you to know that, again, there's a reason why you are here. Your ego, our ego, isn't always necessarily bad. We just have to keep in mind that the reason why we have an ego in the first place is to protect us. But what happens when our ego begins to self-sabotage? This is why it's important to become aware, and resisting is part of the process. So I don't want you to feel bad and think like, oh no, I'm resisting, like I shouldn't be doing that. Like, no. Never tell yourself I should or shouldn't be doing this. Instead, observe it and look at it from like a third person perspective and try to analyze it and try to figure out, okay, these are the tools that I have that I'm currently using, but they're no longer working anymore. What other tools can I learn to use to help me get to where I would like to be in life? And it doesn't have to be something big, it doesn't have to be like finances or anything. It could just be wanting to feel happier, wanting to feel more secure about yourself, wanting to feel more love for yourself. Can always look at self-help books, podcasts, audiobooks. The list goes on. There's so many things that we can do, and that's why there aren't really many excuses that we can put forward, because we do live in an era of technology where we literally have knowledge at our fingertips. And yes, albeit not everything is good out there. And when I say good, I mean you just have to make sure that whatever it is that you are looking into does resonate with you and does make you feel whole. It does make you feel curious about getting to know yourself on a deeper level. That way you can be a better service to yourself. You can be a better service to others as well that are in your life. So Oh, thank you. Much love to you, women. Thank you so much, T. I love you too. Thank you, Jimmy. It's so nice to see you. Thank you so much for showing up. I appreciate it. Um, but yeah, so going back to, doing that deeper work, I do have a video on shadow work. You can feel free to check it out at your leisure anytime you want. And if you have already, then thank you. And if you are new and you are just arriving, I just want to welcome you. And for those of you who obviously have already been chatting, I just want to send you guys some love and thank you for coming back to the channel. I really appreciate your supports and your patience. I know I haven't uploaded the past 2 weeks, but um, you know, I'm human too, I go through these things as well. And I think having a battle of anxiety is something that most of us do go through. And I'm not going to lie, I was going through it this past 2 weeks. That's why I had to take a break from social media or even just YouTube. And yeah, that's another thing. Another thing about grounding is look at different areas in your life where you think you may need to take a step back. And a lot of the times we get so overwhelmed and so bombarded and so stimulated with social media, with our phones, with any type of technology. And if you feel that, it's causing more harm than good to your mental health, to your emotional, physical, and spiritual health, then it's okay to take a break. It's okay to take a step back, if it means rebuilding yourself and just recharging yourself. If you want to give yourself an hour of not being on your phone, just turn off your phone for that hour, do something for yourself that makes you feel good, take a nice hot salt bath or something, or make yourself a nice meal. I mean, just show yourself some love because you do deserve it. We all deserve that love, even though we may feel the opposite of it. That's something that we have to find within ourselves. So, I also wanted to talk about the root chakra because it's something that has really popped up lately, this past 2 weeks. So if you are someone who does suffer from severe anxiety or PTSD or any type of label, again, these are just all labels. Um, Start doing things that will help your root chakra, because a lot of the times, and I know everyone says that the root chakra is like the hardest one to clear. um, Again, you don't have to think that. Honestly, I don't, because anytime I say, oh, this is too hard, I feel like I'm already setting myself up for failure. So the way I like to think of it as, the root chakra can be challenging, but it doesn't mean that it's not possible to heal. So we all know that the root chakra, is red. So start incorporating more red food into your diet. So maybe like strawberries or red bell peppers. And it doesn't have to be like your main focus on your meal, but just like little by little, or even teas. You can drink hot cranberry tea is what I've been drinking lately. And then also, anytime I meditate, I'll have like my crystals with me. And what I'll do is I'll have the crystals kind of laying over like my pelvic area, and just kind of concentrating and like bringing in that light, and just imagining, just water just flowing, just this bright golden light, just clearing it. And just having an inner knowing that this is being cleared, and it may not happen right there and then, but over time and the consistency of doing it, it's something that can be attainable. And also setting boundaries. Again, if you feel like certain people in your life, um, they're not as positive, if you feel certain people have certain toxic characteristics, it doesn't mean that they are toxic themselves. It just means that they're not aware of certain types of behaviors. And if you feel that, those types of behaviors are actually triggering you or causing negative thoughts on you, or if you feel like you're just picking up on that energy, then it's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to say no, even if it's a loved one, a friend, a coworker, whoever it may be. Take that time for yourself to figure out, where is this coming from? Where is this stemming from? Because a lot of the times when we're feeling triggered, it's not necessarily the other person. Most of the time, it's something that is within us that we need to clear for ourselves. And it's almost like your car, right? Anytime you need your vehicle service, that engine light will pop up, and that engine light is going to keep popping up until you do something about it. And it's the same thing with our beings, when we're around other people, and if we're feeling triggered or upset about something, that shows us we need to pause and take a deeper look into what's really going on. Like, okay, is it really me or is it this person? And just start dissecting it. Just start dissecting it. Sorry, but from a perspective of non-judgmental. Come with it from a place of love and be very open. Tito, dopamine detox. So do I. Yes, it's so true. It's so true. I'm glad that you do agree with the dopamine detox, because yeah, we're just so overly stimulated and bombarded with ads, with a lot of things, television, radio, our phones, just technology in general. It's good, but then also you have, the other side of it, where it can overstimulate that dopamine rush. And a lot of times, having that rush can cause more harm than good. When you're sensitive, and when you're aware of it. And when you're not aware of it, I don't think people always notice it, but once they start noticing it and connecting the dots, that's when it's like an aha moment, like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't be on my phone for like 2 hours just scrolling mindlessly on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and it's always exciting. Like, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I feel, really excited anytime I have that aha moment, because it's like, oh wow, okay, I'm open to it. I feel like those aha moments come when we are most open to it. And that's another thing that I wanted to talk about, is just being very open to these experiences and taking everything with a grain of salt, and just knowing that it's never too late to restart. It's never too late to reset. Just think of different things in your life as resets, not setbacks. Because anytime we start thinking like, oh man, like this time this year I should have been here with my life, or, let's say like I'm 30 years old and I'm still, not having a career or whatever it is, anytime we talk to ourselves like that, we just have to remember that the universe, God, source, whatever it is that you believe in, never abandons us. And wherever it is that you are, just know that you are at the right place at the right time. And even if you don't necessarily feel like you're at the right place, then ask yourself why. Ask yourself, why is it that you feel you may not be where you need to be in life right now? And also begin to ask yourself, what is it that I need to learn from the situation that I'm in right now? And move on from there. Just take baby steps. Don't be too hard on yourself, and just come from a place of love. And anytime you do feel that something is too much, and you do feel overwhelmed, and you do feel, the anxiety starting to creep back up again, instead of resisting it, welcome it. Welcome it. I know it sounds crazy, but you have to welcome it, because the minute you start resisting, that is when you're going to really, really feel a downward spiral, the anxiety creeping in, and you may start having, a panic attack. Instead of resisting, instead of saying like, oh no, I don't like this, just say, okay, I'm feeling it, and just breathe. Just give yourself time to breathe and release. Allow yourself to feel it and then release it. Feel it and then release it. And once you start releasing it, start analyzing what may have happened to either trigger that in you, or if it's happening out of nowhere, chances are maybe it was a thought that you may have had and you weren't really too aware of what you were thinking of at that time. But if you can, just write it out. Just have a little notebook with you, write it out. Or if you like to use your phone, the notes, do that too. And, if you're out and about, then obviously, it'll be a little harder to actually do the grounding. But, breathing is so good, and it's so vital, because you don't necessarily have to go and grab your crystals, or find a patch of grass to put your feet on. um, we have to remember that we do have this life force within us, and a lot of the times when we do have trauma and anxiety, we tend to breathe very shallow. um, and once you start noticing the shallow breathing, give yourself time to start breathing deeply. Like, one of the things that I've been doing as of a couple months ago, I started realizing, like, you know what? Yeah, I do a lot of shallow breathing. So anytime I catch myself not really taking a full breath and just half a breath, I stop, I pause, and I go, and I just let myself breathe in and breathe out and just release it, because you're getting a lot more oxygen to your brain. And it's very vital. It's very vital for your brain to get that oxygen going. That way, for one, it brings you back to the present moment. And two, it'll also help you process whatever it is that you are trying to process. So I don't want to keep this video super long. It's already been like 26 minutes, but I just want to thank you guys, for coming out and showing some support. And I just want to remind you guys. So just a quick recap. Ground anytime you can. Do anything that is self-soothing to you, whether if it's painting, playing an instrument, or swimming, anything that will bring you into a state of flow. Keep doing that, because you want to train yourself to start feeling good, and to give you the permission to feel good, something that is healthy, so you can start building that connection with yourself. And once you start building that connection with yourself, the second step is to start getting to know yourself. Bring that curiosity back that you had, like when you were a kid. Maybe there's certain things that you didn't get to do as a kid. Maybe you are in a position to try them now. Do it, even if it was, let's say, a pillow fight or something. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but just bring yourself back to that curious moment that you had when you were a child, and begin to develop that relationship with yourself. And thirdly, just remember that everything that is outside of you, don't worry about the control. Don't worry about feeling the need to control the external circumstances, because when we base our life on the externalities, we are disservicing ourselves. That's when we start feeling chaos in our life. And we have to remember that we are the eye of the storm, okay? If there's one thing to take away, we are the eye of the storm. We are the peaceful center. Everything else around us may be chaotic, but we have the choice to maintain that stability within ourselves and to ground ourselves, okay? So, oh, and the root chakra. Focus a lot on that root chakra, and just know that you are worthy of your healing. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm going to try my best to upload another video next week. If not, I will definitely be going live again. And I'm sending you guys tons of love, tons of positive healing energy, love and light to you guys all right? Mwah. Bye.